Okay, I hit the live button. We should be on the services.
Does appear that there is a tweet. So that is
There's
a thing.
YouTube.
I just got the Twitch notification. Okay.
Hey, we're online.
Yay.
Since when is Pokemon on Twitch now?
Are
Why
they
would
doing
it
it?
be?
Are they doing another Twitch Plays Pokemon? Was that what
No,
that
it's
was?
just the show. It's just the show.
Oh, they've been doing that a lot. I saw they were playing all the classic Doctor Who episodes, which is interesting because most of them you can't even stream anywhere. So, yeah, like I was for a couple of years ago, I was trying to watch some of the older episodes, and they were just nowhere. Like
Yeah.
I ended up watching them like someone re-uploaded them to Vimeo. So that appears to be the
Okay,
only option.
So we do not have to wait for David, so we can get ready to go here in just a second.
We special guest David would not be joining us today. Hopefully, we'll have him in a few months.
Yeah, he'll be
Okay.
back eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, are we all set?
Yeah. Oh, we're doing Ryan's reviews first, right? Did we?
We don't. I mean,
Well, you know, I don't. If you don't want to sit through the whole show, like you can do
Yeah.
that.
It's not a.
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the security key, but if you want to talk about the phone, maybe.
okay.
Like, we can do that first, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I did. Wait, should we do the introduction?
No, we
Don't
gotta do the intro. Come
Yeah.
on.
Please,
Come
Ryan,
on now.
jump in.
We're doing
the
this
gun.
all wrong. I know.
Professional.
Amateur hour.
We are no, we're not. We're not professional.
Okay. Okay, everybody shush. Welcome to the Android Police Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Whitwam.
I'm Cody Toombs.
I'm Corbin Davenport.
And I'm Ryan Hager.
And this is our post-IFA spectacular. It's not actually spectacular. I mean, you know, there'll be some other stuff. I mean, not all of it spectacular, but, you know, parts of it might be a little bit spectacular. We're going to start with one of the spectacular things. Talk about a review, because he's going to do that, and then he's got to go. He's got stuff going on.
I guess it's my girlfriend's birthday.
So
Maybe.
let's hear the spectacular stuff.
My shirt's on backwards.
That is spectacular.
I really did not oversell that. I'm very happy.
So Asus released an Android Go powered phone, $110. I went into it expecting it to be a pile of junk. I have been vocally critical of Android Go in the past, and the fact that all of the phones I've used, the Nokia One that we played with very briefly at MWC, the Alcatel One X, all of the various, wasn't there a Lava branded handset, a couple of the others at the booth at MWC. I wasn't like really impressed with any of them. I was hoping they were going to hit a cheaper price than they did. And everything in the US is hitting this $100 price tag instead. And so we saw the specs for this Android Go powered phone. And I know I talked about it a little bit with you, Ryan, that the Snapdragon 425 was kind of a surprise to see in something so cheap. And so we asked Asus for a unit, and it's a great phone. I love the phone. For $110, I'm not sure you can get a better phone. But it has a pretty big problem where it just randomly locks up while you're using it. So you'll just be like, whatever, doing something, and just the screen will turn off and it stops working. And it turns out it's probably associated with being on T-Mobile. So people who aren't on T-Mobile might not have the issue, but...
And we have talked to Asus about this.
Yes, yeah. So I was actually sending them logs. They were having me install a couple of monitoring applications on the phone, and I put it on a test account, and we were trying to determine the precise cause. So they promised me that they'd have it fixed in the next update. We'll see if that's true, but the rate of update release so far for this phone since I've had it has been 1 per week, which is pretty good for any company and kind of impressive in my opinion for Asus. So we'll see.
I mean, it also might just mean there were a lot of problems that they didn't fix before, before they sent it.
Yeah,
out.
that's
That
one of those
could
things.
also be
It's pretty
true.
good and it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So where can you buy this? Is it like on Amazon?
You can only buy it at Best Buy. I don't know why.
Okay. Okay, but like it's an Android Go phone that you can just like buy in the US and it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's quite good. Like when I was using it, I was like, oh, this is a little slow, but it's mostly stock. It's fine. It works. It's good. I had no real complaints out of all the phones I've used in the past. It was the most.
Does it have a fingerprint sensor?
No, so that's the only omission is the lack of a fingerprint sensor. Yeah, and
does Android Go support that? I don't even know.
It does. The Alcatel One X had a fingerprint sensor.
Okay.
But the screen is so much better than what you get on the One X. It's 720p IPS, 400 nits. That's pretty decent. 18:9, so it's 720p equivalent. It's the pixel density is high enough at 5.5 inches that it doesn't really bother me. And the camera was able to take some slightly surprising photos. It's not great, but it doesn't feel like it's a $100 phone.
So the problems that you had with your Android Go experiment, where you selflessly used it for a whole month, it wasn't related to Android Go itself so much as like it turns out the hardware was just really garbage.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. Although part of it is a hardware problem because this is just me speculating, but 1 GB of RAM is just too little for any phone in 2018, and Android Go requires 1 GB of RAM. So, or it's 1 GB of RAM at max. Sorry,
but did this phone like kill apps weirdly in the background like the other Go phones did?
Yeah, you couldn't get much past about 3 apps before it would start killing things silently, and like Spotify included. So you could be on the train listening to music, reading Reddit, and you click a link and it opens in an external app like Twitter or something that's a little bit more RAM heavy, and Spotify dies.
That strikes me as very strange. I feel like Google should have implemented some sort of feature in Android Go where it's not going to kill a thing that has an active notification, like your music player. That seems like a very simple usability thing that they overlooked.
1 GB of RAM is just, it's not a lot. The system itself takes up, I think that they said at some point it was only 400 megs of RAM, but whenever I've checked, it's over 700.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's it's Android. Only so much you can do, I guess.
Yeah, we got to bring Firefox OS back.
Can we just run Chrome on a phone? That won't use too much RAM, right?
No, that's fine. Just have one app open at once. That's it. Be perfect. Honestly, I could totally see them porting Chrome OS to Android because they're just trying everything. They're making a new OS. Maybe they'll port Chrome OS to some Pixel phones.
They should port Fuchsia to Android.
running a container on Android
in Chrome,
and yes, in JavaScript. The whole thing's JavaScript.
I love that video.
It's just JavaScript all the way down and Linux containers.
All right, so we're gonna move on to IFA things. Ryan, if you need to leave now, you can, or you can stick around until the appointed hour arrives and you need to run off. Either way.
I'll stick around for a little bit.
Okay. All right. So
thank you.
I'll leave when it's most convenient.
Oh, good. Okay. So IFA, there were things. For example, a Huawei thing. The Mate 20 Lite was official, and it looks kind of like we expected. I mean, it's got a notch. It's got a chin. I think it looks kind of weird. It's not like the screen is not like it's not symmetrical. The notch is awkward. I don't like it very much.
Did you get to play with one?
I did not. But I feel like this one probably isn't even going to come to the US. Like the light version is almost certainly. Yeah, it has a Kirin 710. Like this is going to be a thing for like Latin America and Middle East maybe.
Yeah. And I saw this phone did get a lot of press because of was this the one with the leather back? Or am I thinking of something else? I think that's the one. I think that's the one I saw Michael Fisher make a video about.
P20 Pro.
The Pro. Okay. All right. Never mind. This is just a boring iPhone X clone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing that people are looking forward to is the Mate 20 Pro, which will happen at some point, I'm sure. That's the one that has it's been leaked a few times with the weird quad camera array on the back. But this one just has 2 cameras on the back. It looks, I mean, the back looks a lot like the Porsche design Mate 10 Pro. Like it's got the vertical stripe that goes down the camera section.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look that bad. The notch it's inoffensive, and I like the blue color. I wouldn't mind getting
Yeah.
the blue one.
Huawei makes nice colored phones.
Yes.
That Mocha Mate 10 Pro is still one of the coolest, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but they made a really nice looking green phone a while ago. And I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called, but it looked nice. And it made me wish Google did more pixel colors than just black and sometimes blue. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Sometimes blue if you're on the right carrier.
Yeah. I really liked the remember that video that was done earlier this year? I talked about it in our OnePlus 6T list. All of the failed experiments for the back cover on the OnePlus 6 that PC Magazine or PC World showed off, and they were like speckled and all sorts of hues. Yeah,
I remember that.
I love all of the really cool and interesting rear covers and designs that some of the companies like Huawei are doing, and I hope more companies do stuff like that.
Yes, completely agree. And speaking of things that companies should do more of, Motorola made an Android One phone.
Yeah, but it has kind of a big ugly notch, so maybe not do that part so much. But yeah, no. So there's the Motorola One and the One Power were announced at IFA, and you can they have Android One, which is nice. I don't think that you're gonna really be seeing a lot of those in the US. I think those are just gonna be for India.
Yeah, or China.
Or China, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Everybody seems to have settled on this, like, hey, we're gonna put a notch on this phone, and also we're just gonna have a chin because it's easier.
And a tramp.
I kind of wish they.
It's got the tramp stamp. It has the tramp stamp logo on the chin.
Yeah, we're gonna put the logo offense on the.
I just feel like this is such a lazy way to do it, and I wish that they wouldn't. But this is these are gonna be cheap phones, so. They're really just like pushing the whole look. It's an iPhone sort of, but not really. It's an iPhone that doesn't cost you $1,000. So
yeah, this kind of strikes me as a phone that the Lenovo part made, and then they stuck the Motorola branding on it.
Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty likely scenario because it doesn't say Moto anywhere on it, does it? It's just Motorola.
Yeah, it has Motorola, and then it has the M dimple on the back.
Yeah, I feel like this is a Lenovo project that they're just they're using the brand on. But Stephen, who was with us at IFA, spent more time than I would have with these phones, and he has a very extensive hands-on on the site. So if people are interested in these phones, they should definitely check them out. I will say that my favorite thing is that the fingerprint sensor is like in the Motorola dimple. Which,
yes.
Come on, Motorola. Why did it take you this long to do that? That's all we wanted from you for years.
They were going to do it with the Nexus 6, weren't they? And then the company that they had sourced the part from was bought by Apple.
I think it was the original Moto X was supposed to be that.
You might be right. It might be the Moto X.
Yes, that's when they were going to do it. Yeah, and then Apple bought the company for their Touch ID stuff, and there wasn't really another viable option at the time. So yeah, that's why it didn't happen at the time. But now it happened on the One and the One Power. Obviously, they're spec'd differently. I assume the One Power is the better one, right? Yes.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
It has power in the name.
It does, right?
Maybe it's the one less powerful. I don't know.
So the Motorola One is a Snapdragon 625. The One Power is a 636. I mean, neither one is gonna blow you away, but the 636 is a newer and better chip.
Yes.
So.
And speaking of newer and better.
Yeah.
Or not.
So we talked about ZTE a lot over the past 3 or 4 months because they almost went out of business because the U.S. Commerce Department stopped letting them buy things from U.S. companies. It's a whole big, long thing. We're not going to get into all of the details right now. But the gist is that they were penalized for violating sanctions. and they basically had to shut down. They couldn't make any phones. They couldn't, even repair the urinals in their buildings because those parts came from the U.S. It was a big old mess. They came to an agreement with the government. They paid a fine, and they had to do a bunch of other stuff. And now they're back, sort of. They can operate again. So they announced the Axon 9 Pro at IFA, and that is probably a phone that they wanted to launch earlier in the summer, but they could not for obvious reasons. And this phone just seems like kind of a letdown after all of this drama we went through. The ZTE was just they were really, really anxious to release this phone, and it just kind of looks like a lazy iPhone clone.
A lazy iPhone clone with no headphone jack, as Ryan very helpfully bolded. In his post.
I mean,
I can't help but notice you unbolded it in yours. That's fine.
I mean, it's
I feel differently.
I mean, definitely that was one of the things people liked about the Axon is like it really the Axon 7, it emphasized like audio quality.
It had that nice high-end DAC in it.
Yeah, and so now it's another Type C only output. So I don't know if it's going to come with like a dongle with like a really nice DAC in it or something. But
yeah, there was some speculation in comments. There wasn't anything in the video that I saw, but somebody was saying that they might still have a DAC on board, and they just haven't revealed it. And it'll have an analog pass-through on C, like the early C hands. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So when I used this phone, I was struck by how large the display notch is, and there's not like a bunch of stuff up there, right? It's got the speaker, which is small. It's got the front-facing camera, small, and it's got a little window for like the proximity light sensor cluster or whatever. It looks like there's just a whole bunch of wasted space, and I feel like maybe ZTE intentionally made the notch larger so that it would match the same, like the general measurements of the iPhone 10 notch. Because they look very similar. It's kind of got the two little like ears on either side of screen space,
Yeah.
Whereas most Android phones with a notch, they're mostly, screen at the top. So as a result, this phone will show you 3 status icons on the right of the notch. And then on the left, you have the clock and 1 notification icon. That's all you get.
Now, isn't 3 icons what everyone gets on Android P?
Or like status icon. Well, I think on status icon. Well, the status icons on the right, you get more.
Right.
But I think you get 3 notification icons.
Okay.
On this, they can only fit 1, and then like a dot to indicate that there are more notifications.
What is the point? Jesus.
That's
so exactly. It's just I feel like they've hit the point where the notch is a very clear impediment to the way you use the phone.
Yeah, you're taking Android's great notification system and kind of
crippling it.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, and there's still like a sizable chin on the phone too. And it just looks, I don't know, it just looks like they just did everything wrong with the notch that they possibly could. And I don't like it. I don't think it's an attractive phone.
Yeah.
And then, ZTE doesn't seem very confident in it either, because it's not going to come out in the US probably. They said so it's going to sell for 650 euros, which is about $750, and it's going to start launching in parts of Europe and a few other markets in the next month or so. There's no word on it launching in the US. I don't know if they will even bother. But I mean, this thing is priced similarly to a Galaxy S9, and I can't imagine anybody buying it over a Galaxy S9.
Yeah, the Axon 7 was really interesting because it was really ZTE's first sort of flagship in the US that was competitively priced, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a sort of a OnePlus whatever equivalent. Whatever was generation that was.
OnePlus 3.
And there was a very strong community behind it. I think there's still development on it.
People were pretty loaded. Never saw Oreo though.
Yeah.
If ZTE had like paid attention to that phone and that market, they could have continued to be an alternative to OnePlus. And it seems like things have worked out pretty well for OnePlus. And ZTE probably would like to have a piece of that, and they don't.
Yeah, and it's kind of disappointing because Huawei's in the same situation where they were they were actually very obviously trying to compete with OnePlus, especially in terms of development, by giving phones to people on XDA. And then a couple months ago, they were just like, "Oh, no one gets to unlock their bootloader anymore."
Yeah, Huawei's really they're moving high end. Like they don't care about the developers anymore. I mean, they're getting bigger. They're the second largest smartphone maker in the world now, pretty solidly. So, I mean, I guess whatever they're doing is working for them business wise, but the community doesn't support Huawei like they once did.
I still think the bootloader change has to do with the U.S. government's accusations against them in relation to security, and that having these lockdown bootloaders is going to prevent resale of units that have compromised software and other security concerns.
Yeah, that could be it too. But it's still disappointing because we've gone from having 2 OnePlus competitors in the U.S. to 0, effectively.
But OnePlus is doing a good job now, so it's,
well, now they're raising the price, so
yeah, exactly. A little competition would be nice. We'll see if Xiaomi can enter the market in any meaningful way in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we've been saying that for the past couple of years.
I know.
Eventually, one day, maybe.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
And Apple will sue them.
Okay, so there was also a new BlackBerry phone, the Key 2 LE. We linked this a couple of weeks ago. Everybody kind of knew this was coming. I mean, and so like TCL didn't really have a big presence at IFA, but like this was, technically an IFA announcement. That's where they confirmed it was a real thing. So this phone is pretty similar, I guess, design-wise to the regular Key 2. The keyboard looks a little bit different to me. It looks more like the Key 1's keyboard rather than the new one they designed for the Key 2. It has a Snapdragon 636 instead of a 660 in the regular Key 2. And otherwise pretty similar. I think the screen is the same. It's a 1080p 4.5-inch screen, obviously smaller because of the keyboard taking up the entire bottom of the phone. Oh, and it has less RAM. So, I don't know. If all you really care about is having a keyboard on your phone, then maybe you would get this instead of the Key 2.
Yeah.
It's the same chipset, right?
It's no, 636 instead of 660.
Okay.
So it's still good. It's just not as
I mean,
good.
this is better to me than the last one was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it starts at $399, which is a much more attractive price than what is it? Is it it's $5? Or is it $6? It's $650 now for the Key 2, right?
Yeah, it's
very expensive.
Way too much money. Yeah.
It's pixel too much.
Yeah, they're basically talking about like this is a phone for like productive people. Like if you miss your BlackBerry with a keyboard, like here, buy this. And otherwise there's no reason to buy it. Like I can't imagine somebody who just, once, has been using like a Samsung phone or whatever and just like wants a new phone deciding, hey, I'll get this thing with a keyboard. This is for people who've been holding on to like their like BlackBerry OS devices for years. Or people who've been using a Priv. They can buy this.
or people that BlackBerry wants to upsell to the actual Key 2. And they're like, look, you can get almost the same thing for cheaper.
Can we get Ryan to use a Priv for a month?
No. Wait, no. Maybe.
I don't even think that there's a Priv still operational that you could use for a solid month. Like I think
you know what? I would probably do it.
I think I think they work. It's just that they're completely abandoned software wise. Like I think it's still on Marshmallow, maybe.
I mean, you've
That's
seen
not
the
that
plans
bad.
for the other phones I'm going to be using. That's fine. I'm already back before that now, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's
compared
see.
to what he has.
Yeah.
See how much a Priv goes for on eBay.
Oh, we have
about,
a
like,
suggestion in
130?
the chat room too for a BlackBerry 10.
No, that's horrible.
Which,
No, that's too far.
I still have a couple of BlackBerry 10 phones hanging out of my house. I may have to send one of those to Ryan to see what he can say in a month.
Yeah.
Ryan is now who we send all of our garbage phones to.
Yeah,
It's fun. I like it.
Garbage. We
Right.
Some of them were really good phones in their time, like a decade ago.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to try out one of these keyboard phones because I completely skipped the QWERTY era. I went
Yeah.
straight to a iPhone 3G as my first smartphone.
I had that BlackBerry Pearl, which was like 2 keys shared a button. It was weird.
I mean, I think people have fond memories of having keyboarded phones, but today it's not really faster than a good on-screen keyboard.
Yeah, and you can't insert GIFs with a physical keyboard. So that's really the main problem I see.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of fun to type on a real keyboard, but I think a portrait keyboard is cramped enough that you're not going to be able to go fast enough to do better than you would with an on-screen keyboard, because it just doesn't have the same sort of fuzziness about the keys. Like, it can't estimate what you're doing. Like, when you press a button, you pressed that button.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, if this phone had keyboard with Cherry MX switches, would you be interested?
I would be interested in how the hell they could possibly do that. It would have to be a giant phone and like really thick. They could use maybe use some low profile Kale switches, but then it would still have to be giant. I encourage somebody out there to do that just because I would like to see them attempt it, but I don't think that would be a phone anybody would buy.
It'll be a Moto mod on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, hey, a Moto mod for like a mechanical keyboard. I can get behind that. Nobody's going to do that, though. Nobody's that crazy. Okay, so that's a thing. Also, a thing at IFA was the Sony Xperia XZ3, which I think was actually one of the most interesting things there.
It looked pretty hot.
I don't really agree with the title that we had on like the news post that called it an incremental improvement. Like, it looks way nicer than.
In specs, it is only a bump.
I mean, yeah, because Sony does new phones every 6 months. But this is actually kind of an exciting phone. Like, it's got a really good display. It kind of blew me away. Like, I'm sure it's a Samsung panel, and it seems probably, if it's not S9 good, it's S8 good. It's a very nice panel.
I think someone pointed out that it wasn't a Samsung panel. It was by a group of companies in Asia. I forget what the collective term was, but I think like it was Philips and a couple others.
I figured they would have advertised the AMOLED if it was Samsung. To do that once you've bought those panels.
Well, I mean, not everybody does, but I mean, at any rate, like the panel was really, really good, and that's always been one of the things that really kind of confused me about Sony phones. They're expensive, but they were like LCDs and they weren't very good.
Weren't they those 4K LCDs that were like crazy high density?
They still have those. That's on the.
I know. I just reviewed that. I just
Yeah.
reviewed a phone, the XD2 Premium with 4K screen a few weeks ago, and it's like very whatever. But this one it's a 1440p OLED, and it's very pretty. The phone still has kind of the bad fingerprint sensor placement. It's like smack in the middle of the rear panel, which is way too low. But the phone does come in like this very pretty green color. I'm very into that. And just like the fit and finish of the phone, it just felt very impressive to me when I was using it. It also, so I couldn't get this to work, but they have this thing called, I think they call it Side Sense, where the phone predicts what apps you might want to open. You can just tap like the side of the phone and it pops out like a little window of app suggestions. That seems interesting.
Isn't that don't Samsung phones do that? They have that.
They have the I forget what they call it. It's like
The edge
shelf or something. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it.
the edge, the app edge or whatever. Yeah, it's a thing. But it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't predict apps. Like, you can pick apps to have in there, and you can have like other tools and like shortcuts to contacts and everything.
So I noticed there's some inconsistency in the photos here. Does it have the tramp stamp logo at the bottom or no?
Are there? Hold on. Let me look at the. Are you looking at the press renders?
The press renders, some have it, some don't. So I was wondering. Oh, we have the hands on. I forgot about that.
Yeah. The lighting was kind of weird in there. I don't know if you. It had the thing. So yeah, I think it's there.
Boo.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I think the bezels on that phone are sufficiently small that
But it's got a
I
logo
can
on
cope with it.
Especially by Sony standards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sony also made like a big deal about this slow motion, like the 940 frame per second slow motion video. They had little these little air powered ball bubble machine things like on the demo table, so you could press a button and then record a slow motion video.
Oh, so that's on the XC3. Okay, I thought they were keeping that for the premium line. Like they're
No,
really.
I mean it's no, this phone supports it. So like, I mean, I don't know if I was supposed to do this, but like I was able to like export the video from the phone using Android Beam, like the only time that has ever come in handy.
Oh, I remember that.
I know. So like, yeah, because the phones weren't like logged into Wi-Fi or anything, and they didn't have SIM cards, so they didn't have like functional SIM cards. So yeah, so I like beamed it to my phone, and I had to like stand there for 5 minutes while it transferred. But so when we have a video sample in the hands-on, if you want to see, you know, what the slow motion video looks like on the phone, it is pretty cool. It's a bit noisy, but I mean, you know, for super slow motion video, it's not, you know, it's not bad. And yeah, so it's going to be expensive though. It's going to be like $900, which is that's a very Sony price. And I don't know when they're going to release it in the US. Presumably they will. They've released the last few high-end phones here, but hopefully we'll be able to take a closer look at it when that happens.
I just realized the shape, corner radius, resolution, and size of the panel are exactly identical to the Pixel 2 XL.
But this is a curved panel, so
It's like the edges of the Pixel 2 XL.
Huh?
Like the edges of the Pixel 2 XL.
Oh, well, but like the panel itself is actually curved, not just like the glass.
Okay.
So like it is slightly different. We have a picture of it next to the Pixel in.
I was gonna say it might just be an LG panel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I mean, it looked nicer to me than that. Also, fun fact: if you look at our hands-on, the photo comparing the Pixel and the XC3, that's the last photo of Scott's Pixel 2 XL in existence before he lost it, like the next day.
Oh, he lost his phone.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Poor
that,
Scott.
that was sad. Okay, so
I
also,
really like the green color.
yes, the green is very pretty. There was also some Wear OS news at IFA, and usually that would be like very much who cares because Wear OS. But Wear OS is getting some improvements, and they're actually pretty interesting.
Yeah. So instead of the existing design is you have the watch face and you swipe up for notifications, and then you press the side button to open the app drawer. And then like when you swipe left and right on the watch face, it actually changes the watch face, which never made any sense.
It's so bad. So yes, the new Wear OS is going to change basically almost all of that. I think your notifications are still a swipe up, and there's still a quick settings thing when you swipe down. But so if you swipe to the left of the watch face, there's like an assistant feed. So it includes, contextual information and like things that you've told the system to remember, and sort of kind of like the Google feed, kind of.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Google got rid of the feed on Wear OS a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So everyone thought that was going away for good.
Yeah. So that's like very accessible on the left, and of course you can still, and there's a microphone on that screen to like start talking to Assistant, or you can hold the button on the watch to launch Assistant still. And then if you swipe over to the right, there's the Google Coach stuff. All the new fitness features are going to be there, which again is neat. I think that makes sense as long as this works well. You know, like if they can actually do like exercise detection in a way that like other devices have, that it thus far has been much better than what Google is offering.
So it can actually, I don't have a Wear OS device, so it can tell which activity you're doing, if it's like badminton versus.
Well, I mean, hopefully,
masturbation.
Yeah, hopefully it can tell. So like other devices, like a Fitbit or a Samsung Watch, they can tell what you're doing. Like when I go to the gym wearing my Samsung Watch and I like get on the elliptical, it knows that I'm on an elliptical. It doesn't think I'm just walking. It understands the difference. And it's the same thing with a Fitbit. They can actually detect specific exercises. I'm interested to see if Google can finally do this, because I think that's a big selling point for people, to not have to manually input exercises.
Well, I may be wrong. Wasn't Google the first to kind of start doing this, or
they said
some extent,
they said they would. I remember when I think it was the Watch Sport was out. Google was saying, "Oh yeah, we can do like exercise detection," and I could never get it. I mean,
I'm talking way before that. They weren't claiming a lot of different things, but they were claiming a few different things that the watch could detect.
Oh.
Well, they start with the phone, obviously, a lot.
I was never on any Wear OS device able to get more than simple like step tracking and location data. Like I was never able to get it to
right. Anyway, my point was, as far as I'm aware, I think they were either the first or at least among the first to do it, and then they just didn't really go beyond what they kind of started doing in that very early stage, and then everyone else just passed them by miles.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing about the new Wear, so I was able to use like a demo version of it, so I wasn't able to tell exactly how well this will work, but the notifications are different now. Finally, like they screwed up notifications horribly.
Are they bundled?
2.0. I couldn't see this thing. I couldn't tell because it was demo data, and there weren't any bundled notifications. Like there were no stacks of emails or anything. So I don't know if it's going to still be like one thing per item, but instead of being like an entire screen per notification, it's like a continuous scroll. So at least it would be faster to get through, like a bunch of emails. You wouldn't have to swipe 18 times individually. You can just sort of flick. So I will be interested to see how that works. And our understanding is that this will possibly, it'll at least be feasible to get this on any watch that got the Wear 2.0 update. That will, of course, be up to the manufacturer to actually make that happen. But
I don't think so. I think it's part of the Wear app that's updated through the Watch's Play Store.
Oh, is it?
I believe so. I think that's
kind of what they promised, and from everything I was able to tell about this, yeah, that's how they're going to roll it out. It's basically anything that got to Wear 2.0 is going to be getting this.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know they've done stuff like this where, like when they renamed it to Wear OS, even though my Huawei watch never got the Oreo update that officially renamed it, it still says Wear OS in parts of the system.
There are also going to be some features that I think are tied to newer chips that haven't been announced yet.
Right.
But that will not obviously be existing watches. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I mean, the stuff that they showed off at IFA should work on anything with current gen hardware.
Yes.
One thing we can touch on briefly between this and the next subject is that there's one watch that won't be getting this redesign because it won't exist.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. Before that, let's talk briefly about our sponsor, TunnelBear VPN. Do you trust your ISP? Because I do not trust mine. So maybe you need a VPN. The VPN's entire reason to exist is to protect your data. They care about your privacy, whereas your ISP probably does not. So, maybe you can try TunnelBear. Not only is their logo an adorable bear, but they're the only major VPN that has gone through an independent security audit. All of their code and their servers have been tested, and no problems were found. All of the data is public. You can check it out. In fact, you can try TunnelBear for free. You get 500 megabytes of data every month on TunnelBear. And if you want, you can pay $10 a month to have unlimited data. But if you buy a bundle of a whole year of service, it's only $5 per month. And you can do that by going to tunnelbear.com/AndroidPolice. And if you do that, you can help support the show, which we would all really appreciate because we like doing this.
Yes. Go click that link. It's really fun when you click it.
Just click it
click the link.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, click the link right now.
Sign up.
I'm actually not going to continue the show until somebody posts in the chat room that they clicked the link. So, balls in your court, guys.
I clicked that.
No?
We do have a few seconds delay, so
The show is
Okay.
canceled.
Sure.
Can we
Yeah, no,
spoil
the show
about this?
canceled.
GG, guys.
I
We were
don't
going to
know.
tell you all about the Pixel Watch, but whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
were
had a
gonna-
Pixel Watch to show you, and you ruined it.
We were going to
I mean,
tell everybody.
Listeners,
secret
this is
things.
kind of on you now.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Clicked.
Scuttlefield
Someone said they
saved the show.
clicked.
Okay, the show is safe. We can continue now.
We can always trust
Um,
Scuttlefield.
Next week appears to be taken care of as well.
Okay, good. All right, so, okay, so the order is not quite what we promised here, but there was a leak
I fucked
of.
it up.
Ryan
And
messed it
leaving.
up.
And I'm leaving.
Okay, all right,
Oh,
bye, Ryan.
you leave right after you ruin the order.
I said I was
Okay.
going to do it inconvenient time.
Okay, so for the first time, we've seen a leak of the actual like the small Pixel 3. We've seen like the renders, and we've seen that the screen protector and everything, but now we see the actual phone. It's a pretty good leak. I mean, it's in focus and everything, and it
Yeah,
looks
it's not-
pretty good. I'm pretty okay with this. I like this phone.
Yes, I'm still undecided about if I'm going to get this, but it definitely looks better than the XL. And I always like the small pixels anyway. I do not like large phones.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I have a OnePlus 5T, and it is just it's not convenient enough.
I
like
mean,
Pixel.
the device info screen, which was also in this leak, it says it has a 5.5-inch screen. So that's still pretty big, but obviously it's an 18:9 panel, so it's not as wide as older 5.5-inch phones. And
Yeah.
so it has that same two-tone back, which the exact nature of that we're not clear on yet. I mean, I would imagine it's some sort of like treated glass, but we'll find out. And then yeah, so there's no notch. The bezels are smaller. They're larger than Samsung phones, right? But definitely smaller than the Pixel 2. And yeah, I mean, it looks like a nice phone. I'm looking forward to checking this one out.
It does look nice.
Yeah, I could really see carrying this. The only thing is, I don't know that I want to go back down to a smaller phone.
They're so much better.
I mean,
And
I
small
think 5.5-inch screen is fine. I mean, I used a Pixel XL for a year, and that had a 5.5-inch screen.
I'm
and
still
it-
on the 5-inch.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a 5.5-inch in diagonal panel in an easier to hold package, then I'm fine. I don't necessarily consider that a small phone. It's smaller.
Well, it's 5.5 inches, but it's also 18:9, so it's probably going to be pretty close to the existing Pixel. Of course, I know the small Pixel 2 definitely had larger bezels than the original, so I'm not sure what the exact measurement would be, but I would imagine it's pretty close to at least the original Pixel. I would think.
Yeah. So anybody who hasn't seen this should go and look at the article right now and just think about how much nicer that looks than the XL. Just
Yes,
ruminate on that for a while. It's pretty impressive.
it's a nice relief.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
from all the people complaining about notches in all the Pixel 3 XL posts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like the way it looks. I mean, I'm not like militant anti-notch or anything. I don't think it's a particularly attractive phone. But yeah, like it's not. I mean, it's not a deal breaker probably for most people.
Yeah,
we did get.
I gotta say, I am really curious how much this is gonna like really shift. I know Google won't share the numbers, but I would love to see just the percentage shift from the Pixel 1 to the Pixel 2 to the Pixel 3. Like how many people went to XL versus regular, and I bet this is going to be the first year where it's just going to be landsliding
Well,
in favor of the little one.
my first thought was that it's not going to shift very much because the only people that care are the super crazy people that read all of our articles and complain about the notch in every single comment section. But then I remembered that that's still probably the majority of people that are buying Pixel phones.
Right. That and also
Yeah, it is an enthusiast device.
Yeah, it has still not, like, Google's doing advertising for it now, which is more than you can say for most of the Nexus phones. But it still hasn't really hit mainstream. Like when I go out, I don't see any. I think I saw a Pixel phone once. I think that's it. and that was a year ago or 2 years ago because I saw it while I was working at Target, and those were dark times.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a handful floating here and there. Only when I go up to like Portland or leave the state, but yeah, it's definitely not a common device. The other thing though is I kind of wonder how many people are because there are a few kind of normals that do occasionally buy Google phones, especially thanks to Verizon.
Yeah.
I'm really curious how many people are going to either look at them side by side and pick the little one, or they might order the XL and then get it and be like, whoa, this was not what I wanted. Because I think there are still going to be a lot of normies that look at this, they get it, and they're like, really? I only get 2 or 3 notifications. I only get, like, there are still things that normal people look at and recognize. You don't have to be a geek or an enthusiast to really pick up that something isn't right with the notch.
Yeah. And I never went in a Verizon store when the Pixel 2 XL came out. Do we know if they had display units of the smaller one?
I do not know.
Not a clue.
Because
I mean, the Pixel 2 was much less visually impressive in a store than the 2 XL.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, is that I wonder if like Verizon in these stores will even show off the Pixel 3. Kind of like, I know Google basically shunned it. When you went on the Google store and went to the Pixel page, it would just show the XL, and then it wouldn't even show you the smaller one until you like went to buy it and then clicked on the exact model you wanted. So I wonder if Verizon was doing something similar, or if Google's going to do that again, where they're like, just don't pretend this really nice phone exists. We have to sell the big ugly one.
So I don't know about a Verizon store, but one place you might be able to go to see a Pixel 3 XL right now is the back of a lift.
That was a good segue.
Yeah, so somebody left a Pixel 3 XL in the back of a lift. A title that, while I think probably was very bland, it turned out to be a very big hit. I think that title just really, it was like the opening to a joke, and people liked that, and a lot of people clicked on it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people clicked on this, and a lot of people saw it in their feed. I had 2 of my friends that sent me screenshots of their Google feed, and they're like, look, you're in it. But yeah, someone emailed this to us, and they were like, hey, I'm a Lyft driver, and I dropped some people off, and I noticed there was a phone left when they got out, and I thought it was my Pixel 2 XL, but then I saw the notch and the Google logo, and I realized that this was a 3 XL. And he took the case off, and he took pictures of it, and then he gave it back to the guy. So a little creepy.
It's nice that he gave the phone back, but I feel like this guy might not be a Lyft driver anymore.
It's a little creepy. And he mentioned in the email, he was like, I tried to unlock it, but there's a password. I'm like, why would you do that? It's a little creepy, but
yes. But we're happy that he sent us the pictures either way.
Yes, we're happy. Everyone in the world clicked on this article.
Yeah. So I mean, it's it looks like we've seen before. You know, it's got the big notch, the 2 cameras. It's got the chin on the bottom, and yeah, I mean, it's the Pixel 3 XL. There is absolutely no doubt that Google is going to announce this phone, and in fact, we know when they're going to announce it now. They just today sent out the invites for, what is it, October 9th this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about these pictures is that I believe all of the bought Pixel 3 XLs that were totally not stolen, they were bought. I believe all of those were just plain white, and they didn't have any kind of markings. Did they even have a Google logo on the back?
I think they did.
Pretty sure, yeah.
The G.
But the one in this picture had like markings all over it for like identification purposes. So this is definitely a finished unit that someone was testing in the field and left in an Uber. But yeah, so this is definitely Pixel 3 XL. I really need people to stop believing that Google's trolling us all, because I really don't think that's the case, unfortunately.
Yeah. So there's definitely going to be a Pixel 3 XL. There might not be a Pixel Watch, though.
Oh, I'm so mad over this. I was furious. I was complaining about it for probably a solid 15 minutes on the Q&A show earlier this week.
So, I mean, nobody ever knew. We just sort of had heard rumors, and we thought like that seemed plausible.
But I got my hopes up.
Well, we've known for a long time that Google has worked on watches. It's so much so that we've had confirmations from Google employees. We've heard very clear statements that they were working on watches. And so yet again, this is multiple years in a row that we were kind of expecting it. And this year there was a lot more weight behind it than in previous times. And yet again, it's a no.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm still not entirely convinced about this. So the original story, it had some quotes that were not really indicative of Google confirming that there was no Pixel Watch. But the writer says that it was confirmed to her on background after her interview by a Google spokesperson that there was no watch. That seems like an awfully strange way to go about it. And I mean, and we asked Google, and I don't think we ever heard back. Which I guess it doesn't surprise me, but if they were going to like confirm there was no watch, I don't know why they would do it on background instead of giving this reporter a quote.
Yeah, and I can kind of see how this might not be entirely, or there might be something going on here, because as Google, it would probably not be a good idea to say you have a watch on the way when a dozen companies are showing off their new Wear OS watches at IFA. So I can see why Google would probably be incentivized to not really say the truth. But
yeah, well,
I don't know. It could go either way.
We'll find out in in a month, basically. If they don't announce it at the October hardware event, then it's not a thing.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on the Q&A. But the key language to me is the part where it says this year. So maybe we'll see it like early 2019, like the LG watches were earlier this year. That might happen too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the trend has really been early year announcements, typically like early February through kind of like late April. That's when Wear stuff really has a tendency of happening. So there's certainly a good potential for them to save it for that. Or I doubt this would be the case, but I kind of kicked it around during the Q&A. They could even kind of announce it and just say, listen, it's not actually happening this year, but very early next year, our new watch will be available. So, they could be kind of just playing with the language a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many ways this could go.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my hopes up and then have them dashed again.
Yeah. So, do we have anything to say about the new Chrome update? I mean, it's on the list. I don't know what we really have to discuss there.
I can just briefly go over it. So Chrome is 10 years old now. Chrome is a big boy, and for the 10th anniversary, Google finally turned on about a half dozen features that have been in various stages of testing for around the past 6 months. So the browser uses Google's new Material theme. So it's white, has different shaped tabs. The URL bar now actually shows Google answers in the results. So in a lot of cases, you don't even need to click enter and see what Google search has to say. Also, the new tab pages are customizable, except on Android. I'm not entirely sure why. And this update also turns on the new interface that has been in testing for Android for well over a year now. So every platform is getting kind of a refresh. And it's interesting because Google said the iOS version of Chrome actually now has the URL bar on the bottom, which was Google was playing around with that about a year ago. And then earlier this year, they decided to can that. So it's kind of interesting how that ended up on iOS. But yeah, it's shiny and it's new, and Chrome is 10 years old now.
I see. So you know what's like a year old is the Razer phone, and there hasn't been a second one, but apparently there will be.
Yes.
I
haven't actually read this. I just put it in there.
Oh, it's well done, Corbin.
Thank you.
So I think the statement from Razer is actually pretty amusing, because they were very careful to point out that the first gen Razer phone was only produced released in a limited run, which is a nice way to say that they didn't make very many of them because nobody was buying them. But they're going to make another one. They're working on a second Razer phone, and this is of course the team that was used to be Nextbit. They were acquired by Razer after that company's first phone kind of didn't move. So the first gen Razer phone had a 120 hertz display. That was its big claim to fame. And so the second one we don't really know, but there's gonna be one. And what with all of the hype around gaming phones, I feel like, man, they got a shot now.
Yeah, now it's prime time. Now they can they can make a Fortnite phone.
Yeah, they basically, yeah, they can probably like if you buy the Razer phone, we'll give you 100.
Yeah, we'll give you V-Bucks
or whatever. I don't know if 100 V-Bucks is a lot. I don't like Fortnite, but I'm sure they can give away V-Bucks.
There'll be a Razer skin.
Yeah. Oh god. They should. There will be a Fortnite theme for the phone, definitely.
What if the entire phone is Fortnite themed? Like
a Fortnite edition, like it's got like
exactly.
It's got Fortnite like logos all over it. Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, and like they have like the phone will be whatever color the logo is.
Yeah. I think definitely Razer should do all of the things that we were just joking about that might actually sell. Because the kids these days,
they do love the Fortnites.
They do.
The
fork knife. Yeah.
Fork knife. That never gets old.
Okay. So in other upcoming phone news, Xiaomi is teasing the Mi Mix 3, which has basically no bezel and no notch, and it will apparently it'll have 5G support.
Yeah. So about a week ago, Xiaomi's president posted a render of the Mi Mix 3, and it looked really nice. So basically, you can click on the article and it has a picture of it, but for the people listening, it looks like a phone with no bezel and no notch, but there's a little top part that slides up to reveal the camera, kind of like the Oppo Find X. That's what came out.
This is like a manual mechanism, right? Like you actually slide the phone.
The video that was posted later, it looks like that's the case. So this isn't. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's like a motorized thing. I think it's like a slider. You just flip up and down. But it looks very nice, and the render looks so nice that I thought Xiaomi might be pulling our leg like some other Chinese OEMs like to do. But the pictures and video that came this week seem to confirm that it was indeed real, and it looks very nice. And I wish everyone would copy this. And it is 5G ready whenever that rolls out. So that's
So like the picture they showed the phone like with it has a 5G logo at the top, and there's a screen behind it that lists they're doing frequency testing on it, and it looks like the frequency is 28 gigahertz, I think is what that says. Which is that would be like a millimeter wave frequency for 5G. Which is cool if you're excited for 5G. I think 5G is going to be a lot less fun than people think it will, because as soon as you like go inside, that frequency will no longer function.
Yeah, and presumably this will use the same Snapdragon 845 that the Mi Mix 2S, I think that's the latest one, uses, which means they'll have to use the separate module for 5G because it's not in the Snapdragons yet.
Yeah, the next gen Snapdragon SoC is supposed to have an integrated 5G modem. But the current ones don't. So, I mean, it would mean extra battery drain if it does have the A45. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, but it looks nice.
It does. It looks very nice.
I want to try this.
So, Corbin, if you have anything interesting to say about the latest Android projector you reviewed, then do please do that.
I have it right here for show and tell for the people watching. So this is Anker's new portable projector. I cannot speak today. It's pretty big. It runs Android 7.1 Nougat. It also functions as a Bluetooth speaker. You can put it in a speaker mode. It's pretty nice. Really, you could read the whole thing in the review, but my main complaint with it is that Anker is still not using Android TV. They're using normal Android that they've heavily customized and tried as hard as they can to get it working with the remote. And I think they've done the best they can, but it's still not a great experience. I would personally probably go for they have a cheaper version that has the same projector, but no Bluetooth speaker mode. I don't think, and there's no Android OS, but it's like $200 cheaper. And I'd probably get that and then stick a like a Roku stick or a Chromecast on the back, because it just sucks, the software on this. It hasn't gotten any better since the last one they made, and it's just disappointing. Like I would much rather buy this if it had Android TV would obviously be ideal, or even just like a Chromecast target. That would be really nice. But I feel like they should really license Roku's OS, because they're giving that to TCL to put on their TVs. That'd be cool to have on here, and it would work a lot better than trying like the YouTube app on here. They're not using the web wrapper. They're using like an old Android TV app that you can't log into because there's no Google Play services. And like the Amazon app it's the phone app, so you have to try to like use that with remote. It's not good. It's not a great experience. If you really want an Android projector, it's still the best one. But if you don't care, again, there's a cheaper one that does not have Android. It just has HDMI, and you can stick a Chromecast on the back.
All right. That's definitely sounds like a tepid recommendation, but
yeah, get it if it's on sale and you really want.
Get it if it's on sale.
Yeah,
it's a good one. All right. So I believe that is all we've got for this week, unless somebody else has something they want to talk about.
I could probably babble about the play points thing, but I don't feel
let's not do that. We don't need to do that. Let's just call it. So that's the end of the show. Thank you everybody for listening. If you have any comments or concerns, you can reach us at podcast@androidpolice.com. And please check out our sponsor, Tunnel Bear. They have an adorable little mascot that is a bear. Also, they care about your privacy. It's important too. So yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.